Welcome back to the program. Joining me live now is the Deputy Nationals Leader, Kieran Gilbert. Thanks for your time. Today, the Prime Minister maintains the government is supporting a de-escalation and a ceasefire, but also maintains his support and the government's support for Israel's right to defend itself. Are the both things consistent in your view?
Look. There has always been, a bipartisan call for a negotiated two-state solution which requires the removal of terrorist organisations, the removal of Hezbollah and Hamas. And so I don't know how the Prime Minister can be calling for a ceasefire in the absence of ensuring that Hamas and Hezbollah are out of the picture and will not just take the time to rearm and then restart atrocities. So I think he is trying to have his cake and eat it too. While ever there is Hamas and Hezbollah, and while ever they've got the backing of Iran, Israel must have the right to defend itself and protect its people.
It's obviously an issue of great importance to certain groups in our Australian community, not the least of which those that have just mourned the anniversary of October 7 in Australia's Jewish community, but also in various southwestern Sydney seats and elsewhere where there are a lot of people who have come from the Middle East. When you look at the broader electorate, though, do you think that this is front of mind for most people or it's not?
Oh, look, I still think front of mind for most Australian citizens is the pain in their hip pocket, cost of living. There is a lot of sympathy and support for both sides of the cause and anyone seeing the loss of civilian life, including the nearly 12,000 Israelis that lost their lives on October 7 last year through terrorist actions and absolute atrocities. There is a lot of sympathy and support for that. But front of mind for most Australians, operating in Australia is living in Australia in a harmonious environment, and how do we address the cost of living?
Yeah, that is the main issue. You said 12,000, but it's 1,200 was the number. But still, it was a brutal. Slip of the tongue. But it was a brutal atrocity, and yet still we saw protests at the weekend marking that, which were pro-Palestinian. Some of that the images, and as the Prime Minister himself put it on this program earlier, he thought it was abhorrent. Toddlers and so on chanting for the end of Israel.
Yeah, and look, we saw people still trying to cheekily, not displaying the flags of Hamas and Hezbollah, but displaying banners that resembled the flags of Hamas and Hezbollah, which was a bit of a fillip, a bit of a finger to those of us who've been calling for the criminalisation and action to be taken against people displaying the flags and the banners of terrorist organisations.
There is, on another front, the government legislating a ban on the privatisation of the NBN. Would you welcome that? Do you want it to stay in public hands?
Where did this come from? Can you explain to me, at this point in time, when we've got all of the stuff going on in the Middle East, all of the stuff going on the cost of living crisis, the increasing cost of power, the number of business insolvencies that are happening, and out of the blue, the government changes the order of business of the day to bring forward legislation that no one is calling for. No one is coming through my door and saying, we've got to protect the NBN. So this is a stunt by the government to say, look over there, don't look at us, look over there. Oh, look, there's a bird flying. Privatisation. We need to thoroughly look at the legislation they've proposed, but this is out of left field. There's been no public consultation. There's been no consultation with us. It is a political stunt to distract from a government that is in crisis.
Deputy Nationals Leader Kieran Gilbert, thanks.